ahead and call the meeting to order. Again, happy Friday. Let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. All right. So if I can ask for approval of the minutes before you so move, if you can please state your name, because we do have somebody who is taking notes, and then you can make your motion. Thank you. So Bev and Laura. All right, so moved. Thank you. All right, let's do, Warren, do you have a mic? Let's do member introductions.
Good morning. Richard Aiken, Bylaws.
Karen Moore, Southwest Florida Business Today and Chair of the Business Resources Committee.
Gary Tasman, Cushman & Wakefield, Commercial Property, Southwest Florida, and Chair of the Business Issues Committee.
Guido Minaya with Minaya Learning Global Solutions and President of the Horizon Foundation.
Molly Scott with Crystal Construction, Horizon Council Secretary.
Ben Spence, Lead Health and Vice Chair, Horizon Council.
Laura Carr, City of Bonita Springs Council. Good morning, Rachel Caduc, Cape Coral City Council.
Rafael Lopez, Village of Estero Council.
Good morning, Sam Fisher, Chair of the Lee County School Board.
Good morning, Steve Hennigan, Lee County Port Authority.
Good morning, Robbie Ripstorp with Edison National Bank, Bank of the Islands, and the Industrial Development Authority.
Good morning, Gary Griffin, B&I Contractors, and the Industrial Development Authority.
Woods Land at Large.
Christine Zardina, Tri-County Apprenticeship Academy, Member at Large.
Ray Sandelli at Large.
Good morning, Bev Larson, ERA Lahaina Realty, Member at Large.
Mary Gentile, LQ Property Management, Member at Large.
Troy Boulevard, Southwest Florida Inc.
Good morning, Tom Yoder with Free World, representing the Chamber of Southwest Florida.
Good morning, Randy Chris Commercial Group, representing the Lee County Port Authority Airport Special Management Committee.
Good morning, Jeannie Richards, representing Better Billings Incorporated and representing my company, Better Billings, and representing ABC.
Good morning, Richard Durling with Marvin Homes, representing the Lee Building Industry Association.
Good morning, Julie Ramirez, Executive Director of Lee County Medical Society.
Good morning, Shane Spring, Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association.
Good morning, Eileen Buchanan, Southwest Florida Board.
Good morning, Jay Johnson, Bubba's Roadhouse and Saloon, representing the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, Lee County Chapter.
Good morning, Nancy Carista, Sherm, Southwest Florida.
Buenos dias, Edie Button, Casual Strategies Business Coaching Consulting. I'm the chair for the Southwest Florida Spanish Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, Tony Laupy with Sanibel Captiva Beach Resorts and Twin Waters Inn, representing the Tourist Development Council.
Good morning, everyone. Jordan with Emerge Southwest Florida, representing the Greater Estero Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, Robert Goltz, Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce.
Stephen Longest with the Pine Island Chamber.
Good morning, Mark Bless, Broker Restaurant Group, representing the Sanibel Captiva Chambers of Commerce.
Jen White, Fort Myers Brewing.
Denise Vidal with LCEC, Member at Large.
All right, very good. And everybody passing the mic is the EDO and Horizon Foundation. So thank you guys. You could have done introductions this morning as well. All right, so moving forward, let's go ahead and we'll do my report. So a couple of things. On Wednesday evening, we had the President's Circle that was graciously worked on by the Lee County Economic Development Office staff. So thank you guys for that. That was an amazing event. So what you did on your part, but also we were hosted at the Boston Red Sox Stadium over at JetBlue. And Shawn, thank you so much to you and your team for providing the format and everything there. It was wonderful, and we look forward to, yes, I was saying thank you for the umbrellas, because it decided to rain. But it was a great event, and it was, since I've been involved with the Horizon Council, it was probably one of the best circle events that we've had. So look forward to many more to come. Let's see, what else? I do have a couple of updates as far as we do have a strategic planning coming up in October. With that, there is a survey that some of you may have received in your inbox. And for us to be able to have some statistically relevant data, I would ask that you please complete that survey. If you can today, that would be great, because we are meeting to review everything on Monday. So it would be great if we had some more. I think we have 12 or 13 respondents, and we need probably like 30 to 40. So if you have that in your inbox, please respond. We also have a couple of other updates. As you guys know, we have struggled this season to be able to fit all the content in. People are preparing much more robust programming, like what you'll see today, and we want to allow time for questions, and we always tend to run a little short. So we are looking to change the times of our meetings, and starting in November, because remember October is Industry Appreciation. While I'm on that subject, if you want to register, you need to get your registrations completed. So that is out there at industryappreciation.com. You can do that, or you can talk to any of us, and we can get you information on how to register. But November format, we will start at 8:15. So we are going to start at 8:15, and we plan on ending at 9:45. So that was a way for us to squeeze in an extra 30 minutes into the programming. There's still want you to come and socialize 8 o'clock, and I think that we will kind of congregate until 10, so you still have that 30 minutes of being able to socialize and talk to folks. But we will start 8:15 and plan on ending at 9:45, starting in November's meeting. A couple of other things as we're on the topic of strategic meeting and planning. We are introducing a new committee to the Executive Council and to General Counsel, and that's going to be focused on the arts. So Warren and John have done an excellent job, and we have a person who is going to lead that committee, Devin Parker, for those of you who know her, so we're looking forward to that. We also have 2 task force that we're going to create and have identified people to lead those task force. One of them is focused on capital stack. We haven't come up with a name quite yet, but Dan Evloff is going to focus on that task force. And then we have another task force that's going to be focusing on, we're going to call it probably Lee County Future Work Task Force, and that's going to center around remote work, home-based businesses, and kind of everything in between on that segment. And our own executive, Matt Robesworth, is going to lead that. So we got confirmation on that yesterday, so he's excited. We're excited for that to take place and transpire. So we're looking forward to adding those task force and that committee. We've kind of on and off been talking about it all year, so it's great to be able to finally announce that. So I will go ahead and move us on with our programming. Dr. Naya, do you want to come up?
Oh, wow. Look, she left the gavel. Sweet. All right, let's see. Good morning. So we're on track with fundraising efforts. Thanks to our Executive Director, Bill Johnson Jr., we're at $470,000, so that's exciting. we held our mid-year investor event on September 4th at a Mighty Muscles game, and we had about 56 attendees and received great feedback. Every attendee received the book, Resilient Spirit, from Sandy Stillwell-Youngquist, and really entrepreneurial guiding principles and leaps of faith that create success. So if you're one of our investors and you didn't get the book, please connect with Bill. I know, I saw Sandy. And of course, you can go directly to the author and ask her for her advice as well. Our Horizon Foundation Board was named to one of the top 6 nonprofit boards, and will be honored at the October 23rd event at the Doubletree. Our new Edison Awards Committee, led by Sandy, and Dean Piccirillo, convened its first meeting this week, and one of their roles is to raise funds to assist in continuing the Edison Awards here with us. And we already have a top sponsor, HBKS Wealth Advisors, that is one of the early contributors through this committee. And if for those that did attend the event last year, the Edison Awards event, if you thought Jensen Huang and Dr. Michael Crow were phenomenal, just wait until this year. Too early to tell you who, but sign up early, right? Helen mentioned the President's Circle events. Again, our thanks to the Boston Red Sox. So you got to bring props, man. Each finalist received a Boston Red Sox baseball with the IAA logo. And I think we collectively, when we debriefed informally, it was a very memorable event for all, but specifically for our finalists. The AI-HI Hub initiative continues. FGCU will be hosting our 3rd event where we're looking in depth at what each stakeholder can provide. So we look forward to share more on that. And last but not least, Bill, I was looking at our props, right? Our Invest League, and basically this is our little pamphlet that shows investor levels. And you may have heard, of course, that the IDA raised the bar this year to the innovator level at $50,000. We made a presentation recently, and they raised the bar again to $100,000. So thank you to the IDA, to our chair, Robbie Rokersdorf. So I hope it gets even better in the future, but right now it can't get much better than that. Thank you.
Sounds like Guido just threw out a challenge. Sam. All right. Commissioner Hammond couldn't be with us this morning, so we are going to go ahead and move over to Mr. John Talmadge for his update.
We have not just one author in the audience, we have 2. So Sandy Stillwell and Tony Lappy have both authored books, and the Lee County Public Library is carrying both books if you like to rush on over and check one out. This is the first time that in the industry appreciation categories, since I've been here, that every single municipality is represented by a finalist. And so it's going to be a nice display of all of our cities and what they offer and their strengths. I'd like to just mention several companies. AROX, Newcastle, and Advanced Precision Technologies. Is that right, Johnny? APT. They're all aviation-related industries that have moved here. And AROX is on Newcastle. AROX is on Bonita. Newcastle is along Winco Road. And APT is in Tri-County at Leckett Road. It was putting a second facility by the airport closer to the tree line. But they test jet engines. So they have a contract with Delta and a couple other airlines. So Steve can talk to us more about that. But the airport, it continues to be the magnet that I've always hoped it would be. And we're beginning to see the fruits of that. The other thing is the innovation that's going on in healthcare. I talked a bit about that because eHealth's leading that. But Osseo is a regenerative knee replacement manufacturer in Bonita. So you can have knee replacements without surgery. Curadel is an advanced cancer mitigation or intervention that's located in Estero, just down almost right next to the Proton Center. And then the Proton Center was the first Proton Center on the west coast of Florida, and we helped a big part of that as well. So that's been fantastic to see that. And then, Benita continues to support all this innovation with North Star, which is a 3D company that makes walls and fire-resistant home improvement. And then City Mattress continues to be a wonderful partner and a home to Helen right now. But they are innovative in their own space as well. So we are very lucky to have this diversity and diversification going on in our economy, and we will continue to watch that grow. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. I'm going to go ahead and move us forward to our highlight for the nonprofit minute. So, Angeli, there you are. If you can go ahead and start making your way. So, Angeli is the co-founder and vice president of Family Initiative, a first-of-its-kind Florida-based nonprofit organization committed to serving the autism spectrum disorder community through compassionate support and innovative programs. Angeli is a licensed clinical social worker and board-certified behavior analyst. As I go through everybody's bios today, I'm just going to do a little bit of a highlight. I encourage you to read the rest, but she's got a lot of good stuff here, so I will, for sake of time, turn it over to Angeli.
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's very exciting. I'm Angeli. We're excited to be here. This is actually, next week is the 10-year anniversary of when we started our organization. So David Brown, my co-founder, and I started it 10 years ago just to meet a need in our community. We have grown from one community-based program that we started October 3rd, 2015, to a whole array of community-based services supporting individuals diagnosed with autism and their families. So all the way from infancy through young adults, we provide free or low-cost programs throughout the region. We provide clinical services, so applied behavior analysis and occupational therapy. Recently, we started a private autism specialty school about 3 years ago, which is in full swing as we speak right now and continuing to grow. We are just super fortunate to have such great support and partners throughout our region. We have recently, as our kids have gotten older, developed more workforce and vocational training. We have a great partnership with the county where we have a number of young adults placed at various positions. Real jobs, tax collector's office, downtown administrative office, and continuing to add more. I know DOT is the most recent, recruiting some of our young adults who are just doing a tremendous job. We have a liaison that helps train the staff. Our staff has trained over 1,000 Lee County employees to date and continue to do more training just to really raise the profile. The prevalence of autism, as you all know, has continued to increase. It's very much in the news right now. And I just feel super fortunate that we're in a community that supports. We have a great partnership with both baseball teams. We were able to build out the first of its kind sensory room at the Twin Stadium, which we staff fully with clinicians throughout spring training. I think we served almost 1,000 families last year during spring training. We served collectively almost 4,000 families here in our community last year. So the need is definitely something that's growing. We have lots of opportunities to volunteer, to get involved, to educate. So if anyone's interested, we'd welcome you to come visit us, to ask questions, and come meet some of our kids. So appreciate this opportunity. So thank you.
Angeli, before you go sit back down, how do we reach out to you?
You can reach out. Our easiest way is our website, fi-florida.org. That's probably the easiest way. And I'm here. I have cards if anyone needs as well. Thank you.
All right, great. We have a interesting, dynamic group of people on the panel this morning, and led by a superstar of our executive committee by his own right. And so our programming is the impact of major sporting events on Lee County, and I think that you guys will be very intrigued and interested on what they're going to say. So if you weren't nervous, you can be nervous. Leading our moderator is Adam Palmer. So Adam is he's the Executive Vice President of CBRE and currently serves as Global President-elect of the CCIM Institute. Palmer also serves as the Executive Committee member on the Horizon Council and previously served as President of the Florida CCIM Chapter, Executive Committee member of the Florida Realtors, and as past President of the Commercial Investment Professionals. There's much more on Adam there, but I know him as a committee chair and a phone call away for questions that I have and things that are going on in our community, and he has done an excellent job in answering those questions. So he's going to be leading us, and to his right is Shawn Smith, General Manager of Florida Operations for the Boston Red Sox. Shawn's career in professional sports spans over 3 decades, including pivotal roles in various capacities within the Boston Red Sox organization. Encompassing significant business and baseball development projects, he is the driving force behind a multifaceted operation in the state of Florida, while being at the forefront of community engagement and philanthropy. Let's see, who's next? Next to him is Victor Gonzalez. He is the Assistant Director of Florida and Dominican Republic Operations for the Minnesota Twins, with a deep passion for developing the next wave of sports professionals and community engagement. And then we have Mary Coffman on the end there. Good morning. And she is with Intersports. She's the Executive Director of Community Impact for Fort Myers Tip-Off. Fort Myers Tip-Off is an elite college basketball event run by Intersport, a global sports and marketing company based in Chicago. We know it as the Tip-Off Classic that happens on Thanksgiving, and we talk about that a lot. Adam is a great spokesperson for that. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Adam.
Morning, everybody. All right. Southwest Florida is home to us, right? And from the outside looking in, we may be best known for our sunshine, for our beaches, maybe for our nature. Meanwhile, maybe we're not always categorized or thought of as a dominant sports region. But why not? Why not? Our local Florida Everblades, first ECHL 3-time repeat champion, right? Everybody remembers our Dunk City Eagles down at FGCU as being the first 15 seed to ever make it to the Sweet 16, right? Wings up, Dr. Martin. Thank you. But if there's a peanut butter to our sunshine jelly, maybe it's baseball, right? Spring training has a history here in Southwest Florida that laps 100 years. That's really impressive and something that we can all be proud of. And sports, it's a critical investment to here in Southwest Florida. Nearly $70 million was the total in direct visitor spending here in Lee County. I'm not talking about overall economic impact. We're talking just direct visitor spending. And while it's easy to kind of look at the figures economically for economic impact and visitor spending, it's important to understand that the investment goes well beyond that and some of the ancillary benefits. Each of these great organizations that we're very proud to have here in our home, they're kind enough to allow our county management and economic development teams to have an annual day at the stadium, respectively in Minneapolis and Boston. And this event has resulted in engaging with over 60 companies in those respective territories to talk about how great it is to do business here in our Southwest Florida home. And I'm very proud to say that it was those engagements that has resulted in over 1.3 million square feet of development right here in our backyard. That's an amazing thing. Thank you for that. But it's not just baseball that is critical to our area as a sports economic boost. Amateur sports is big here. And if you want to know just how big, in 2024, that produced over $77.4 million in direct visitor spending right here, and a whopping 230,000 room nights here in our local hotels. So between events like the Tip-Off and City of Palms and amateur baseball, sports is important to us. And a little bit today that we're going to talk about not only the importance of that investment, but how we can nurture, protect, and enhance that investment, and talk about what's going to be critical for us as a region to make sure that happens. And before we dig into that moderated discussion, I'd like the opportunity for each of our panelists to go through a little bit of a canned intro, and we'll start with Mary at Intersport.
Intersport is a pretty diverse company. Together in those 5 cities, you can get a taste of everything that Intersport has a space in. This is part of the important story of how Lee County can really grow with Intersport. We've been an excellent partner in the sports space, but there are other opportunities. Thank you, Adam, for the introduction. I'm Mary Coffman with Intersport. And so one of the things that Intersport does really well is partner with large brands. So large brands are coming to Intersport because part of our expertise is doing large activations that get incredible exposure. And so this is one example with 7-Eleven and Universal with Jurassic Park this summer. And they had an activation in Beaver Creek, Ohio. And it should be here in Fort Myers. And so now being a part of Intersport, I'm absolutely going to be pushing Intersport in our community to really leverage everything that Intersport has to offer. We also have an incredible space in the culinary world. And so we're combining our relationships with national brands. This is an example with Chase Sapphire, and then our culinary group, who's the client on record for James Beard. And we're putting together culinary events and experiences all throughout the United States. Again, something that we can do here in Lee County. So these are just, I had to include the Hamilton one because I love Hamilton. And when I saw that, I was brand new to Intersport, and I was like, I want to be invited to that. So next time they do that, I will be flying up to New York and on that activation team. And then speaking in the sports space, Under Armour has been a partner of Intersport for years, and this partnership has grown, and it's developed into, as you can see, multiple events throughout the United States in different sports, volleyball, football, and it's taken a huge impact for young people to have a space to grow and learn. Of course, getting that brand relationship with Under Armour and with Intersport events, but it's a national space for these athletes to get recognized. And again, we can be bringing events like this down to Lee County. The APP is growing exponentially. This is the Association of Professional Pickleball Players. We actually were part of the conversations when the courts in Cape Coral were being built, and we were giving advice on how to better build so that we can then activate that space. And that's what Intersport does. If you have the facilities, we're going to help activate that space. And so this is just an example of where we're going in the APP, and it's happening fast. So, for example, we're really digging deep into the collegiate space. We're going from one event in Cape Coral last year to 2 events this next year in 2026, and they're collegiate events. And we're strategically partnering ourselves so that we can help these college athletes who are not part of the NCAA get some recognition and get in the professional pickleball space. Another part of this is the forging of international partnerships. So this is a clear sign that there are people that are interested in having pickleball have a larger space just outside of professionalism, but as a potential Olympic sport. And we need to pay attention to this and be a part of the conversation so that as this grows and with our relationship with Intersport, again, we can have Lee County be a part of that conversation. And this just is another breakout of some specific things that are happening, and that's the video of the event last year in Cape Coral, but we're going to skip because of time. And then that brings us to Fort Myers Tip-Off.
And you can see we have 16 teams with great brand school recognition coming here to Lee County. We, on average, have about a $7 million economic impact in Lee County during the week of tip-off, which is Thanksgiving week, and that does not include the $750,000 on average that we spend to put tip-off on. So this event not only helps Lee County grow in national exposure, but we absolutely make a contribution to the community.
Victor.
Good morning, everybody. Victor Gonzalez with the Minnesota Twins. For those of you that don't know me, my main role with the Twins is to oversee our spring training facility and anything to do with spring training operations, our player development operations. We have a player development academy that's open from January to November. We have 108 player rooms there. A lot of people don't know that. Our players live there, they train there, they sleep. They live. That's their home for 11 months out of the year. So I oversee the operations of that. Anything in spring training, I work with our operating partner, the Mighty Muscles, to operate spring training. So anything from security, concessions, parking, all that stuff kind of goes through our department and the Mighty Muscles. So we're really proud of that. We run a really good spring training operation, I think. Minnesota is part of the fabric of Lee County, believe it or not. It's one of the top destinations, to travel into RSW for the Upper Midwest and Minneapolis, St. Paul, which that's not a coincidence, right? The Twins have been here since 1991, and a lot of people. And you go up to Minnesota. We go table with Lee County VCB Twins Fest every year, and the amount of people you wouldn't believe that say, "I'm saving money to come to Minnesota. I'm saving money to move down to Minnesota and or to Fort Myers and retire." Like a lot of people up there just view this as a major destination and really love it. So that market is a huge part of our tourism, and we're really proud of that. And you can tell by all the blue license plates you see in the spring and stuff like that. It's freezing up there. Nobody wants to be there. They want to be here. So yeah, it's driving the wrong way, Shawn says. But yeah, and I guess the last thing I'll leave. I don't want to get too long. I know we'll get into a lot of subjects, and we're pressed for time. I guess the main thing that I'm proud of is our close relationship. Part of my role is to work with Lee County government, and we work really hard to make sure that the fields are not just used for 2 or 3 months by spring training by the big league team. Right? We want to make sure we're programming it year round. So I work really closely with Jeff Milkey and sports development department. His team does a really good job of programming really premier events. Right? So we get some international things. We had the Ireland softball team. They came into their training camp for the Olympic qualifier and things like that at our softball fields. We have the Florida State High School baseball championships at our facility. We have some of the most premier perfect game tournaments that come into town and create and generate those bed nights. So it's, us and the Red Sox, we really work with Jeff to do our part to fill these fields and get bed tax nights. So we're not just asking for money all the time. We're helping generate some money. So we're really proud of that fact, and yeah, we'll get into more of that here down the line.
Thank you, Victor. Shawn. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Jeff, could you stand up? Jeff Milkey in the back. So Jeff is responsible for the sports business in this region. Jeff, with the amateur sports and the well over 116,000 room nights, I think, just from Perfect Game we were sharing. Jeff sets the example for Victor and I to follow. Yes, we're the Boston Red Sox, and I have to just get this plug in. It's very important for us to attempt to win our 10th World Series, and it's very important for us, equally as important, if not more important from my perspective, to make lifelong lasting memories for our fans. So how does that really translate to you? So I'm from North Carolina, so I'm going to go off script for a second. It ain't about us. It's about y'all. So I can tell you wonderful things that our organization does, but it really doesn't matter. How does it impact you? My role here is to continue to drive revenue for our organization to drive tax dollars back to your county, back to our county. My job here is to make certain that we are connected as much as we can possibly be, that we say no to no one. Sometimes the answer that we get, that you may get to the yes, may not be the way you wanted to get to yes, but we're always there to say yes. It is critically important for us to be here for you. 291 event dates at our ballparks scheduled for 2025. We just launched, we are now the largest outdoor concert venue in Southwest Florida. We had Luke Bryan perform back on June 14th. The facility holds 16,500 people. We didn't go that big for our first show. Heaven forbid, we didn't want anything bad to happen with things getting out of control. But you're going to see a strong partnership with us in Live Nation, where you'll look to see back-to-back shows in the spring and back-to-back shows in the fall. It's critically important for us to serve you. Don't ever forget that. Thank you.
Thank you, Shawn. All right, let's get right into the discussion. Victor, we're going to start with you. The Lee Health Sports Complex went through a $48 million renovation a decade ago now. How do you measure the return on investment of those improvements today, both for the fans and for the Lee County economy?
Yeah, so for us, when we did our renovation back in 2014, 2015, we added close to 2,000 seats, and we removed all bleacher seating and things like that, and we berm seating so we could increase our capacity by about 2,000 seats. We now consistently rank in the top 4 of attendance in the Grapefruit League, and that's no coincidence. So that renovation has just allowed us to hold more people in the ballpark and things of that nature. And you can just see the area around the ballpark. I mean, it was a cow pasture for the better part of the last 20 years, and now look at all the things that have gone up around it. Right, that's no coincidence. Everybody wants to kind of build around that ballpark and all the restaurants and things that have opened up and benefit from that game day. But the biggest thing for me, again, going back to kind of what Shawn was saying, it's how the facility can help the community. Right, all these renovations made the ballpark that much more appealing to people coming in from the outside from a tourism standpoint. We added a field during the renovation, and that's another field that we can play 4 or 5 games a day on and have that many more teams staying in our hotels and things like that. So to us, that's kind of the return on investment that we're looking at when we make those renovations, and ultimately that's how we were able to get that pushed through and approved.
Shawn, let's switch over to JetBlue Park, which is now also in its second decade of operation. What features do you feel are most critical to keep it competitive as a spring training destination and facility? And what can we do about that in the years ahead?
Thank you, Evan. So I mentioned a few moments ago, 291 event days this year. It's critical for us to continue to grow that number. The county takes care of the facility. It's an unbelievable job that they do. They're going to be replacing the seats this year because the seats in the metal of the seats have decayed and corroded over time, as this air can certainly do. But in the way that we make our decisions about what we do with our facility to be able to help continue to keep it clean and safe for everyone inside and outside, the new seats that we're going to get, we made certain that when we were investigating what style, that, oh, by the way, what are the Twins doing? Because if we need seat parts, or Victor needs seat parts, imagine we did red seats, right? Which we could, it's our color. But now it's going to cost more money to the fund that is set up, not for the taxpayers it's set up. So if we need seat parts now, we can help one another. Our carpeting in our locker rooms, before we redid that 2 years ago, I went over to see Victor and said, let's see what they have. Now, carpet's carpet, right? But we made the decision, let's do the same thing the Twins have. Because if things get damaged and they need help or vice versa, just bring a box of the tiles over, right? So all these little decisions that we make, whether it was tax dollars that were previously used or the prevention of tax dollars being used going forward, it's critically important for us to stay up to standard for baseball and for our fans. But it's also critically important for us to be responsible with the money that we have allotted to us. So we partner to make certain we don't have to go back to you for this.
Victor, in our intro, we spoke about the importance and the impact that spring training has on this region. What trends are you seeing in fan expectations, and how do these offset the upgrades that you prioritize at Lee Health?
Yeah, so in the last few years, we've kind of seen fans want, we call it a frictionless experience. It's a fancy way of saying people are impatient and want to get in and get out, right? So we've changed our bag policy, right? And now you can only have a single compartment bag. It's got to be a certain size. While some of you might find that annoying coming into the ballpark, it really expedites you getting in. And honestly, it's just a lot safer. You're less likely to bring in a weapon and things like that in a smaller bag. The other thing is like in our concession stand in concourse, right? We've put, if you go to our ballpark, you're probably like, why do these people have so many points of sale? But it's because that's what people want. Somebody wants to get a beer or a soda. They don't want to wait in the long hot dog line, right? They just want to grab their beer, the grab and go. So we've really emphasized grab and go sections, lots of points of sales every 50 to 100 feet. That's kind of a trend that we've really adapted to. And the other thing is, at our ballpark, we think it's really important that people are able to walk around, right? Walk around the ballpark, not sit in a certain seat all the time. People want to just check out different vantage points. So we've prioritized putting high top bar tops around the entire stadium. The last thing I'll say is, we've had an increase of young fans and families with special needs coming to our game. So we invested in a nursing room for mothers that need to nurse their kids during a game. We don't want that to be an obstacle. And as a child of a 1.5-year-old, I really sympathize with that now. And then we built Anjali alluded to earlier, we built a sensory room. Lee County leadership was awesome in supporting that initiative, as well as Lee Health and Gonzalez Children's Hospital, along with Family Initiative. We have a room where we built it for kids with special needs to go in there and get out of it. Sometimes the sensory overload from a ball game is tough for them, so it's a good place for them to go in there. And the Family Initiative have awesome clinicians that really can help get these kids settled down and be able to go back out and enjoy the game, hopefully.
Mary, what role do you see Southwest Florida playing on the national sports map? Are we fulfilling the wants of your target market as a region, or do we still have work to do?
I think we would be remiss to say we don't still have work to do. I mean, we have to continue to evolve and stay competitive in the space in which we exist. And so it's up to all of us to continue to push each other. I mean, I just outlined a bunch of ways in which we can leverage our relationship with Intersport, and I'm so grateful to Jeff, who pushed Intersport to hire somebody local. And I'm excited to be new and in that position because I'm so passionate about our community, and there are so many opportunities with Intersport that we can take advantage of. And so we have to look at every opportunity. We have to do a better job partnering and engaging with each other and having your support as businesses to come in and help us, and as well as our nonprofits and our schools, everybody. Each piece plays a role so that we can continue to be competitive on the national stage and bring in the marquee teams that you see in that slide that I showed. We can bring in more of those teams with everybody's partnership and collaboration.
I love that. Maybe we can dig a little bit more into that. I'm always interested in the behind the scenes, what's going on. And I know I'm personally very excited about Michigan State versus North Carolina. What a great matchup that's going to be for our area. But can you expand on a little bit more about how Intersport goes about securing those marquee matchups every year?
Yes, so I've been with Intersport for 6 months, so it's been an exciting adventure for me, and every time I get on a call with my team, it's insanely impressive. We have at Intersport a core group of people who have these incredible relationships with college coaches, college ADs, and they want to come to our destination. We have two things going for us, and that is Intersport is an amazing partner, and our destination being an appealing location. And so the new dynamic that we have at play is NIL, which is name, image, and likeness. And these college teams are getting pushed to pay their players that NIL money. And so they're looking to go to events that are able to provide these schools with more NIL dollars. And so that's what we're up against. We have coaches and ADs that want to come to tip-off, that want to come to Fort Myers and be a part of our early season non-conference tournament play, on top of which we have amazing TV exposure for the programs and the players. Of course, we reap those benefits as well. I mean, a nod to being on Fox on Thanksgiving Day, that's going to be amazing. But we have to, behind the scenes, look at all of these pieces at play, because it's that one piece. And if we all come together, we can absolutely make that happen. And it's going to be more than two teams that are coming in. We're going to have a whole slate of these big teams coming to Fort Myers tip-off, because we've taken all of our pieces of our puzzle and we've put it together.
And like from an economic perspective, something to kind of keep in the back of our mind, do you have any kind of statistical data or percentages for us to consider about how much of your customer base for the tip-off comes from outside the region versus local attendees?
That's a big goal for me. I think that we need to be proud of the Fort Myers tip-off, and I believe that this can turn into a really great legacy event for our community. Right now, I would say that our fan base that's coming is around probably 60 or 70% from out of town. That's great for our hotels and our restaurants and our shops and everything else. Don't get me wrong, that's excellent. However, we have still lots of tickets available for sale on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and Saturday. There's still tickets available on Tuesday, too. So if you want to come and watch Michigan State or North Carolina, there are still tickets available. This is about having pride in what we're providing in our space. We are a small market with incredible events that are 15 minutes away from your house, and we need to be proud of that. You don't have to drive 2 hours to have this experience. It's right here in our own backyard. And so another part of my job is working to drive more visitation on those other game days, because we're here for 6 days. It's not just those 2 days. And it is fun Division I college basketball to come out and enjoy.
That's a great message. The whole purpose of this, we really need allies in the business community to help champion that. Shawn, switching back to baseball, facilities in Arizona are often clustered together way more than you see here in Florida. And you spoke a little bit earlier about some of the maintenance synergy opportunity that exists with being in a similar market as the Twins. But can you talk about what other advantages does Southwest Florida have, kind of when you talk about that grapefruit versus cactus competition?
Come on, this is Florida, right? Obviously, we have a much deeper tradition in spring training history in the state of Florida, because western expansion happened a lot later. The facilities out in Arizona are a lot different than ours. They're bigger and they're closer together. They're shared. A lot of them are shared. One of my closest friends with the Dodgers runs the facility for the Dodgers and White Sox. A close friend of mine runs it for the Cubs. And we face the same challenges, that our organizations have this expectation of perfection. And we, in turn, also have that of ourselves and of our staffs. So we share ideas, and we want to make certain that we are on the cutting edge of bringing events here, cutting edge of technology, and also cutting edge with the way we serve. And I made a kind of a snide remark to Victor when you talked about these great events that are only 15 minutes away from your house, and I said, unless you're driving on Daniels Parkway. And I say that because it is a challenge, and we try to contribute to the solution. 2 years ago, we included parking in the price of your ticket. You just drive in and park. It's critically important to get people off that road. It's only going to get worse or better, depending on how you look at it, because we're expanding more out towards Lehigh. But when we made those decisions, Mark Weber, I'm sure you remember Victor's predecessor, I talked to Mark, and we want to make certain that the decisions we make because it affects you all. We are friends. We are colleagues. We are teammates. If we play in the field, great. He wants to win. We want to win. Who cares? At the end, we're still friends and teammates. So the decisions that we make in serving you all, whether it's facility-related or event-related, we make certain that we work collegially together. And then when my Purdue Boilermakers win the national championship this year, I'm going to be screaming to get them at the tournament next year.
Yeah. How many people in the room have been to a spring training game at either of these great facilities? Right? So that's the whole room. One of the things that I just absolutely love best about spring training is that intimate experience that is just completely different than what's like if you attend a great regular season game. And so that kind of sparks some curiosity in my mind. Victor, how do you balance kind of those traditions and that intimacy of a spring training experience with kind of the pressure to modernize these facilities for a new generation of fans?
Yeah, it's tough. A lot of our older purist fans, they're retired or in age, things like that. They like to come to the game, just watch a ball game, and no frills, nothing extra, right? Our younger fan, they want some extra things. They want some promotions during the innings, things like that. So we try to strike a balance of having some fun things that go on in between innings, having our mascot around on the dugout dancing, stuff like that, while not alienating our fan base that, really comes to spring training for the most part. Another thing that I really struggle with and think about, and Shawn probably deals with this too, is, access to our players. In today's world, part of the thing with spring training is you can get really close to the players, autographs, pictures, things like that. Trying to strike a balance of keeping that available to the young fans and things like that, while also keeping our players safe and not distracted during important workout times is something that we really, over at the Twins, and I'm sure they do really struggle with it too. But we really try to make it a priority to make sure our players know that they're making an impression on these young fans, and they stop to take pictures, stop to sign an autograph, but we try to do it in a way that's safe and keeps young kids engaged in the game.
Yeah, Victor, can you piggyback off of that if you're kind of putting your futurist hat on, and if you're looking 10 years out, what do you want the fan experience to look like? What do you want the player experience to look like? And what investments for us as a business community are important to think of to make that happen?
Yeah, I would say, for the support we need from the community is just, basically to get behind us when we want to make these investments, because these investments aren't just the way that us and the Red Sox look at it. They're not just to make our big league teams better and just for amenities only for our teams, right? When we make these decisions, we got to figure out, and the county leadership does a great job of this. They push us, okay, you guys are going to get something out of this, but what is the community going to get out of it? What community impact, what community use is this going to have? So the challenge for Shawn, people like Shawn and I, is to think of how are these we want to get big upgraded weight rooms, big upgraded batting cages, technology labs, all this stuff, but what things are we going to put out for the community? So I think striking that balance is important for us to figure out, and in a way that we can continue to attract elite events and set ourselves apart from other communities.
Shawn, what's your vision for the future?
I'm laughing as he talks because when we talk about the player connection, for those of you that come to spring training at JetBlue Park during the day to go to the backfields, our big league guys hang out by field 1 or field 2, and there's fences set up. So we have security personnel, and they have marching orders that come from me. And usually what I do in the morning after those fences are set up, I tell our staff what to do, and then I go myself and modify it. Even if it's like another 5 feet, right? Because that connection's important. And we were talking this morning, most of our players, certainly in my league guys, are never going to make the big leagues. So how can we make that human connection where they interact with people, and whether it's a senior citizen or a child? Because that's who we are. We're people at the end of the day. And money is a very important barrier, I think, in the growth of our game that I don't know how we overcome right now. The exorbitant salaries are a challenge. When I was in high school, major league players, the minimum salary was $34,500, and I thought those guys were rich. Minimum salary right now is $750,000. And that creates a different expectation. But it's up to us to make certain that we keep these young men and young women grounded. And that starts right here in spring training every year with you all.
Yeah, thank you. Mary, earlier you kind of mentioned something near and dear to your heart as far as in kind of looking at those statistics between visitor attendance and community attendance. I'm curious, what other kind of measurables and KPIs are Intersport watching as far as in what might be defined as the next frontier of the tip-off? Is it bigger schools, bigger ratings, deeper community interaction? What are you watching?
I would say we're watching all of that. I think that part of Intersport's strength as well is their media relationships, and so that's why we're able to get such great network coverage, national network coverage for our event. I am looking at everything. Chicago's a little bit different than, their goals are a little bit different than my goals. I want the local attendance. That's important to me. I want more local businesses coming on board and partnering with us in a unique capacity. I want to be showcasing our nonprofits and also doing it in a really cool way. I'm excited about a partnership that I have with Art Fest and Sidney Byrne Davis Art Center and Goodwill and Lee Health. I mean, there are so many unique ways in which you can interact in the sports space that creates this unique local Fort Myers experience for everybody that's coming into our sports spaces. And so it's going to be really fun as we watch this evolve. But my KPIs are a little bit different than Chicago because I am also looking at pushing Intersport in other capacities so that we can leverage those assets, not just in athletics, but in the other spaces so that we can get more national attention.
That's a great segue. What can other sports in our region kind of learn from the tip-off model? And you talked a little bit about some of your diversification, not only in culinary but other sports. But can you go a little deeper into what other sports are attracting the interest of Intersport?
We're in so many different spaces, to be honest with you. We're expanding in the pickleball space, like I alluded to in the presentation, and then we also just added a team dedicated to soccer. So Intersport is going to be expanding their interest in the soccer space as well. And that's everything from helping localities start a professional soccer team to utilizing the national brand partnerships and getting them into the soccer space to, get that brand recognition. So it runs the gamut of all the opportunities in which the soccer team at Intersport is interacting in that space. Say that question one more time, Adam, so I answer all the points of it, because I feel like there were a couple of points in that question.
Yeah, I was kind of what advice maybe other sports could also find opportunity to kind of learn from your model, and where there might be opportunities for expansion in our region.
So I've been in the community for 20 years, and I've been in the attractions tourism space, so being in sports is new to me. However, I have been a strong supporter of sports tourism in Lee County for the entire time that I've been here. I understand it. And as I've traveled the state and participated as a board member for Visit Florida, I did that for 4 years, and it is amazing how many people are talking about us. I think we sometimes don't realize how good we have it and how we have every piece in place. I love that you guys recognize Jeff. He is amazing. John and his team at Economic Development are incredible. The Visitor and Convention Bureau, we have this amazing foundation. So when you talk about people role modeling from Intersport, people are actually role modeling from Lee County in general. And so we are in this space where we need to make some big decisions so that we can keep being the people that people are talking about. And I'm so glad that we had this opportunity to be here to talk so that we can really engage in this conversation to just really push the needle. So that's why.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. As we kind of wrap up the moderated discussion and go to a little bit of Q&A. Gentlemen, can you close us out talking a little bit about how your organization is partnering with local schools, universities, and nonprofits to kind of create community impact in our area?
Yeah, I can start with that. I mean, Shawn and I both sit on various boards, Foundation for Lee Public Schools, we're Horizon Council at large members, Lee County Beautiful, a couple of ones we serve on together. So we really try to get involved in all these groups and things like that, try to put our money where our mouth is. We don't just want to be here working, we want to be a part of this community and help make it better. Just recently I signed up to mentor a kid from South Fort Myers High School, so I'll be starting to do that. So we really try to get involved and help out. The Twins have a community grant. We do a Twins Community Fund grant where in Southwest Florida, we pick a few nonprofits every year. I think this year we picked 10 or 15 different nonprofits and gave them a grant. So we really want to reinvest into this community. And when we do our week of service every year, our entire organization, we shut down practice and work for the day. And this year we actually went out to Family Initiative and had a baseball field day with the students there, and it was a lot of fun. So we really try to put our money where our mouth is on that front.
That's great. You guys inspire me. We have to talk. I'm excited about her being here. We're involved in three pillars, which you can encompass anything in this: education, health, and wellness, and supporting our veterans. But let me just highlight education for a second, since that's what the question was about. We give over $100,000 in scholarships every year, which culminates at the end of the year at our ballpark with a big celebration. Every high school and even charter school in the area, $5,000 scholarship for a senior that's selected. There's a long process to do it. We do share a lot of boards together. He doesn't even know it yet. There's another thing I'm going to grab him on, and I hope there's going to be other things he grabs me on. Because, again, we are teammates together. And I just want to end the way I started, if I could, please. It ain't about us. It's about y'all.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the gallery? Randy?
I really appreciate you asking that question, Randy. I'm also on the board for the City of Palms Classic, and thank you for your support with City of Palms. And Mary Shack does an amazing job, so if you don't know about them, they're also bringing a lot of teams into town to stay in the hotels. And Right, I would say that right now we do. We added a couple of beach properties to our list of fan and alumni hotels as well. And so having the partnership with Pink Shell in Margaritaville is adding to the cachet of talking about our destination. We start promoting tip-off in May. And so from May until November, all of these fan bases and all these alumni groups are learning about Fort Myers, and we are promoting with our partner hotels. I would love to see some larger spaces as well. I think we all would. I mean, there is so many ways in which we can partner with Intersport and activate different spaces so that we can grow together and grow smartly so that everything is utilized, and so in all parts of our county as well, so that we have a broad reach. So yes, our hotel partnerships are fantastic, and I'm grateful to them. But I also, there is potential for growth. There always is. Again, I think we should always be challenging ourselves to do more and grow better and smarter. Does that answer your question, Randy? The caliber. Yeah, that's a great question. And here, this goes back to the whole NIL conversation, because our coaches and athletic directors love our destination because the players can go in and around the resort safely and without having any disruptions to what they're very dialed in, right? Usually the coaches are like, you're in your rooms, you're on the bus, you're on the courts, that's it. But here, when they come to tip-off, they can enjoy the resorts that they're in. And so that's why if we can put the final piece together with the NIL funds, with some more local partnership and investment, we can really build tip-off and bring more marquee teams in, because they do love our resorts, they love our beaches, our neighborhoods, the whole thing.
Gary.
We would love that. Right now, we have a partnership with Congress Jewelers. They are providing a destination, a symbolic destination pendant to all the 160 female athletes that are coming into play, and it's a flip-flop, a dolphin, things that are representative of our destination. But absolutely, I would love to talk to anybody that would love to partner with us, because the BCB and I are putting together welcome bags for the team. So I have plenty of cards. I would love to hang out.
It's never too early to start promoting the importance of investing in commercial real estate, right, Gary? Yeah. Any other questions from the floor? Hearing none, please join me in thanking our esteemed panel. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, I turn it back to you.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, guys. That was very informative. And just to share a little bit, as Mary was talking about pickleball and the importance in the area, we actually have somebody in Fort Myers who's nationally ranked as a pro pickleball player. His name is Brennan Cameron. So it is something that is growing, and something that we have talent in Southwest Florida that is active. So I thought that was pretty interesting as she brought up pickleball. Member input. Do we have any? Well, I'm going to do a member input. So as you talked, guys, Victor and Shawn, about how you guys collaborate and how you guys, while you're competitive on the field, how off the field you very much reach out to one another, you collaborate, you're friends. I think that that's a perfect example of how do we get that into our youth and see that you can be competitive on the field, but off the field, still remain friends and be collaborative and lean on one another. So I think that that is inspirational in a lot of ways, and I think that as you guys think about that, maybe that's something that you can take forward to the youth in Southwest Florida and help and not only inspiring, but also teaching that competitiveness doesn't mean that it's war and can be negative, right? So Excuse me. Thank you for sharing that. So I am going to go ahead and close this out today and adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great weekend.